move on. Okay? And we might get knocked down by the things that are in the world or around us, but again, Paul tells us that greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. So there is nothing in the world that can outdo that which lives within us. Okay? It gives you part of Elohim's enduring strength. Now this is good. A full cup cannot be filled. When you're full, or when you're filled with yourself and your needs, I and nothing else, there is no room for more. When you empty yourself before something which is greater than yourself, when you become humble, you allow in much more than your limited capacity. Humility is the key to transcendence, to reach beyond yourself. Only true humility gives you the power of total objectivity. Humility is sensitivity. It is healthy shame out of recognition that you can be better than you are and that you expect more of yourself. Although humility is silent, it is not void. It is a dynamic expression of life that includes all 7 qualities of love, discipline, compassion, endurance, humility of course, bonding, and sovereignty. Humility is active, not passive. Not a state of being, but an interaction, even in its calm and inaction. Philippians 2, 3, and 4, basically, in a nutshell, it tells us that we should consider others before we consider ourselves. And this is what allows us to be an empty vessel, that we consider the needs of others. Then what's going to happen to that vessel? It's going to be full of everything that we need, all the energy that we need to not only take care of them, but to take care of ourselves as well. Examine the love in your humility. Healthy humility is not demoralizing. It brings love and joy, not fear. Humility that lacks love has to be re-examined for its authenticity. Sometimes humility can be confused with low self-esteem, which would cause it to be unloving. Humility brings love because it gives you the ability to rise above yourself and love another. Arrogance, in the guise of love, means loving yourself. Or what is even worse, making others a part of and an extension of yourself and your self-love. So the questions we ask: does my humility cause me to be more loving and giving, more expansive? Or does it inhibit and restrain me? Am I humble and happy, or am I humble and miserable? And again, they're right here. We keep these things and we can go back to them. Again, the 49 days of the Omar, it goes beyond the 49 days of the Omar. It's a lifelong thing of learning and growing so that we can become the image of Elohim in life and take the word, the light that comes to us, and we reflect it back to the world that needs it. Week 6 is Yesod. Bonding is the ultimate emotional connection. While the first 5 qualities of love, discipline, compassion, endurance, and humility are interactive, they manifest a duality, the lover and the beloved. The emphasis is on the individual's feelings and not necessarily on mutuality. Bonding, on the other hand, is a complete fusion of the two. Without bonding, no feeling can be truly realized. Bonding means connecting, not only feeling for another, but being attached to him. This is an interesting concept. When I prepare these lessons, I will actually, while I'm writing it, while I'm reading it, while I'm researching it, I will envision the faces of the many people that I'm going to teach this to. It's like I'm connected to the person or the people that I'm teaching it to or going to teach it to. So it's a really wonderful thing that you feel this bond with the people you're teaching, but to see them up front while you're preparing a lesson or when you're preparing to do something really, really brings out the feeling of love and compassion that you have for those that you minister to. But anyway, without bonding, no feeling can be truly realized. Bonding means connecting, not only feeling for one another, but being attached to them. Not just as a token commitment, but total devotion. It creates a channel between the giver and the receiver. Bonding is eternal. It develops an everlasting union that lives on forever through the perpetual fruit it bears. And that's something else that, and I use myself as an example. I teach this, and I'll be in a room with a group of people, and what I taught on a Saturday, for example, I'll be sitting in a group of people on a Sunday, and that is being spoken. Or I'll teach the Spanish congregation, and the following week I may sit for a little while and listen to the pastor preach, and him preach the things that he learned the previous week, that he puts it into his sermon because it makes sense, and he's able to tie concepts that didn't make any sense together because now they make sense. So it bears fruit. Okay? The emotional spine of the human psyche is this bonding, or this foundation of life. Every person needs bonding to flourish and grow. The bonding between a mother and a child, between a husband and a wife, between brothers and sisters, between close friends. Bonding is an affirmation. It gives one the sense of belonging, that I matter, I am significant and important. It establishes trust in yourself and trust in others. It instills confidence. Without bonding and nurturing, we cannot realize and be ourselves. Bonding channels all 5 previous qualities into a constructive bond, giving the meaning foundation. Whereas all other human feelings are individual emotions, separate stories of a building, each a necessary component of the human experience, bonding channels and integrates them into one bond, which creates a foundation upon which a structure of human emotions firmly stands. Paul gave an example, and it was a really awesome example of this exact thing. And he says, we're all one body. But because we're all one body, it doesn't mean we're all the same part of the body. Okay? Some people are a head, some people are a hand, some people are a heart. But we cannot maintain our balance without a big toe. And if we think about that, how important is that? That we have people that support the vital functions. And the vital functions support the brain that allows everything to function. You can't have one without the other, and that is what he's talking about in the body, and that's what it's talking about here, that everything has to come together to form a foundation. Bonding is giving all of yourself, not just part. It is not one emotion, but all of them. So Yesod, bonding, foundation, completes the spectrum of the first 6 emotions. The foundation of Yesod is different from an ordinary foundation. It does not just rest beneath the higher levels of the structure, but it encompasses them all. An effective bedrock of emotional psyche cannot remain separate, but must include and permeate all of the emotions. Only then can bonding be constructed and everlasting. Love is the heart of bonding. You cannot bond without love. Love establishes a reliable base which allows bonding to build on. If you have a problem bonding, examine how much you love the one or the object which you want to bond with. Do I try to bond without first fostering a loving attitude? Is my bonding expressed in a loving manner? The things to think about. Finally, we reach the 7th week, which is Malkut. Malkut means sovereignty, it means reign, it means kingdom. But sovereignty is the last of the 7 attributes. It is different than the previous 6. It is a state of being. It is a state of being rather than an activity. Leadership is a passive expression of human dignity, which has nothing of its own except that which it receives from the 6 other emotions. Okay? We can't be a leader unless we have everything else in place to allow us to lead effectively. Otherwise, we're nothing more than a tyrant that rules based on out of fear and basically what we would call the backside of Shin, as opposed to leading from the front side of Shin, from God's point of view. We're leading from Satan's point of view, which is the total opposite of everything that we've just discussed. On the other hand, Malchut manifests and actualizes the character and majesty of the human spirit. It is the very fiber that makes us human. When love, discipline, compassion, endurance, and humility are properly channeled into the psyche through bonding, the result is Malchut, sovereignty. Bonding matures us and allows our sovereignty to surface and flourish. Through bonding, we all figure out or find out where we belong in the structure. And once we know where we belong in the structure, we are able to function at that high level and bring all these other attributes into play, because it is a desire of our heart to serve at that level. Malchut is a sense of belonging, knowing that you matter and that you make a difference, that you have the ability to be a proficient leader in your own right. It gives you independence and confidence, a feeling of certainty and authority. When a mother lovingly cradles her child in her hands and the child's eyes meet the mother's affectionate eyes, the child receives the message that I am wanted and needed in this world. I have a comfortable place where I will always be loved. I have nothing to fear. I feel like royalty in my heart. This is Malchut, sovereignty. Healthy sovereignty is always kind and loving. An effective leader needs to be warm and considerate. So again, questions we ask: does my sovereignty make me feel, make me more loving? Do I exercise my authority and leadership in a caring manner? Do I impose my authority on others? You know, this is, people look up to you. What do they see? Do they see somebody who's going to be loving and compassionate and help them to grow? Or do they look up to you out of fear that basically they don't want to make you angry, because then they're going to feel like 2 inches tall? There's good sovereignty, and there's sovereignty that we need to work on. Anyway, the people of Israel departed Egypt on the 15th of Nisan, and it's been celebrated ever since as the first day of Passover. The 14th is the first day, the 15th is the second day when they departed. 7 weeks later, on the 6th of Sivan, marked on our calendar as the festival of Shavuot, we assembled at the foot of Mount Sinai, and we received the Torah from Yahweh Elohim. We have learned that we each possess 7 powers of the heart: love, awe, beauty, ambition, humility, bonding, and regality or sovereignty. And that each of these 7 powers includes elements of all the other 7. These are represented by the 7 weeks and the 49 days of the Omer count. Every Passover, we are granted a treasure chest containing the greatest gift ever given to man, the gift of freedom. It is also a completely useless gift. What is freedom? What can be done with it? Nothing, unless we open the treasure chest and count its contents. And that's what we're doing during this time of the Omer. We are counting what's in that treasure chest. And we find that we have 7 gifts within that treasure chest that multiply themselves. We count 7 times 7 because the gift of freedom has been given to each of the 7 powers and 49 dimensions of our soul. Indeed, what use is the capacity for love if it is a slave to external influences and internal neurosis? Of what value is ambition if we are its pawn rather than its master? During this counting of the Omar, we open up our treasure chests and count another coin. We count our loving love, intimidating love. Is that intimidating love? I don't know why I put that. Beautiful love, ambitious love, humble love, bonding love, and regal love. We assign a number to the regality of our awe. Today is 14 days, actually now it's 15 days, which are 2 weeks into the Omar. And to the beauty of our humility, today is actually 32 days, which are 4 weeks and 4 days into the Omar. We count them all, and then we present ourselves at Mount Sinai. This period of 7 weeks is a time of true reflection as to where we are. It's important. As to where we are. And we picture ourselves in the garden, in the sound of Elohim's voice, who is asking us, Adam, humankind, where are you? And this should resonate in our minds, in our mind's ear, that we must strive daily to ask ourselves this question so that when the time comes to stand before our Master, we can give him the answer as to where we are. Again, it was lengthy, it was wordy,
Wow.
but this is probably the most important thing that I've taught all year. And because it's something that you can take and you can use it over and over and over again. You have a bad day, open this up and say, where's the distortion? Where am I off? Ask yourselves the questions. Come up with new questions. Because, like I say, we have the period of our lifetime to get it together. When that's over, it's too late. So we have to constantly be examining ourselves. Where am I? We're coming up on Pentecost, and then it's all downhill into the days of awe. You know, we follow up with Rosh Hashanah. We follow up with Yom Kippur. We follow up right away with Sukkot. And then we start all over with Simchat Torah. So it's a good time to examine ourselves. Any questions?
Good.
Dive right in there.
Very.
Okay, well, I guess we are done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.